Good, good morning. Let's continue the class on anti-cancer drugs. Let's go back to the PPT. What have we understood till now? We understood that cancer involves different lines of therapy: surgical excision, irradiation, chemotherapy, and immunotherapy. Under chemotherapy, we also understood that we have cytotoxic drugs, targeted drugs, and hormonal drugs. In the previous class, we learned about alkylating agents, platinum-based compounds, antimetabolites, natural products, topoisomerase 1 and 2 inhibitors, antibiotics, and other drugs. Today, let's learn about targeted drugs. What do these targeted drugs mean about? Targeted drugs are those which are going to act against one specific kind of a target. Here we have tyrosine kinase receptor, or we have EGF, that is epithelial growth factor, angiogenesis inhibitor, which will act against VEGF, proteasome inhibitors, or we have even monoclonal antibodies. So there are going to be drugs which are going to be acting against these. These targeted drugs are basically classified into two kinds. There can be specific monoclonal antibodies which are going to be targeting each group specifically, or they are produced against a particular antigen or a surface target, like what we have EGF antagonist or VEGF, vascular growth endothelial growth factor inhibitors, or we'll have certain proteins or synthetic compounds which can be used. So let's look into these. First, we have tyrosine protein kinase inhibitors, imatinib, which is selectively going to be acting only in CML patients where there is translocation in chromosome 22, Philadelphia chromosome, where there is translocation. So the target is going to be the tyrosine kinase, the BCR ABL protein kinase, which is exclusively present only in CML patients with translocation of the chromosome 22. Only in such patients, the drug is exclusively going to go bind to this BCR-ABL fusion protein, where it's going to inhibit growth of the cell or even division of the cell. So mitotic stimulation is not there. Because of this, the cell can't be able to divide anymore, and eventually it dies. So the target is going to be BCR-ABL fusion protein, which is going to be inhibited by imatinib. Such drugs are called targeted drugs. Among them, the first one what we are learning today is imatinib. Where does it act? It acts on tyrosine kinase, BCR-ABL protein fusion protein kinase. How does it function? It phosphorylates the proteins and reduces the cell division. Where is it used? It's used in CML and also in metastatic gastrointestinal stromal tumors. It's given orally, exclusively drug used for CML. It is one of the drugs of choice, and as well as it can even cure CML. What are the adverse effects? It can cause abdominal pain, vomiting, fluid retention, periorbital edema, pleural effusions. Coming to the next targeted drug delivery systems or targeted anti-cancer drugs, EGF receptor inhibitors. What is EGF? EGF is epithelial growth factor. So these are going to be overexpressed in epithelial cancers. So our drug geftinib is going to be exclusively acting on epithelial cancers. The next drug, angiogenesis inhibitor, it's going to bind to VEGF, that is vascular endothelial growth factor. This is going to inhibit the angiogenesis signaling. So there is not going to be growth of blood vessels in two. So the cells don't get nutrition, hence they are not able to divide, and eventually they die. These are used in metastatic colorectal carcinomas, carcinoma breast, metastatic non-small cell carcinoma lung. The next one is a proteasome inhibitor. What are these proteasomes? Proteosomes are packed complexes of proteolytic enzymes which degrade signaling proteins that control cell cycle, cell division, and apoptosis. So proteosomes are the one which are going to inhibit, which are going to degrade these proteins which control cell cycle, apoptosis, and survival response. One of the proteins which are involved in these are nuclear factor NF-κB mediated signaling. This IKB is involved in stress degradation. This, if it is lost, it is going to cause certain cancers. So what are proteosomes going to do? Proteosomes are going to break these or degrade these signals, NF-κB. Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to give proteasomib, which is going to inhibit proteosomes, because of which these signaling molecules are going to be intact, which are going to be apoptotic. Where are we going to use it? We are going to be using it in multiple myeloma and mantle cell leukemias. This is going to increase the survival of the normal cells and kill the cancer cells. What are monoclonal? The next group among the targeted ones are monoclonal antibodies. What are monoclonal antibodies? These monoclonal antibodies are antibodies produced against a particular antigen from the B lymphocytes. How do you produce it? For example, a patient has a certain kind of cancer, breast cancer. You take an antigen from that breast cancer cells, infuse it into a mouse with that antigen. After that, into the spleen cells. After that, you infuse myeloma cells, which have myeloma cells are keep on dividing, so life cycle is more. So with these two, you fuse it. Once you fuse, you form hybridomas. These are selected for those cells which are able to produce the antibody which we need. These cells are then multiplied. These will produce the antibodies which we require. These antibodies are given in the cancer patients. So we can have different types of antibodies which can be produced. Like we have only human antibody or murine antibodies, chimeric, which is human plus an animal. It could be humanized or completely human antibodies. So what are monoclonal antibodies? These are antibodies produced against a particular antigen by the B lymphocytes, after fusion with the mouse myeloma cells. These hybridomas will be able to produce lots of antibodies, especially IgG, human IgG antibodies. Where are these going to be used? Before we understand the uses of it, these antibodies can be linked with other molecules, other ligands like radioactive ligands or killer cells, or we can add a drug onto it like amphotericin B. We can have naked antibodies, just only monoclonal antibodies, or you can add a immunotoxin. So where are we going to be used? These have lots of uses. Unmodified or the naked antibodies are used for direct signaling of apoptosis, antibody mediated cellular toxicity, complement mediated cytotoxicity. In these it can be used. Where else in cancers it can be used? It can be used as armed or even in radiopharmaceuticals. So there's going to be several of these drugs. There are more than 200-250 drugs which can be used. For example, we have rituximab, which binds to CD20 on the B cells and it promotes apoptosis. Where do you use it? We can use it in B cell lymphomas, non-Hodgkin's, and CCL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Not only this, there are going to be several monoclonal antibodies where we have IgE antibody, omalizumab, abscizumab, which is used as platelet drugs. So the extensive uses not only in cancer, they are also used in several other lines of therapy. Coming to the next group, after targeted, we have hormonal drugs. What are hormonal drugs? Using hormones like glucocorticoids, estrogens, progesterone antagonist, androgen antagonist is hormonal drugs. Hormones is not yet completed, but once it is completed, you will have a better understanding of this. So glucocorticoids, where can be used? Like prednisolone and others, where can be used? It can be used in acute childhood leukemias and lymphomas because they are going to reduce the count, WBC count. They have a lymphocytic action. Not only that, they are also going to have, they also have an anti-emetic potential. So they are going to reduce cancer chemotherapy induced nausea, vomiting. Estrogen products, estrogens like estrogens and progesterones, they are also going to be used. Like progestins have been useful in endometrial neoplasms, carcinomas and renal carcinomas. Estrogens can afford a symptomatic relief in carcinoma prostate, but they are not much used in carcinoma prostate. We use androgen antagonists, 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. Aromatase inhibitors like letrozole, selective estrogen receptor downregulators are used in carcinoma breast. Next, we have anti-androgens which are used in carcinoma prostate as well as a palliative as well as for advanced and metastatic carcinoma. We also have a 5-alpha reductase inhibitors which inhibit the conversion of testosterone to its active molecule dihydrotestosterone, which also is used in treatment of carcinoma prostate. We also have gonadotropin releasing hormone agonists which are used in treatment of carcinoma breast, prostate. Adverse effect of these using a continuous basis, it's going to cause infertility. Progestins can be used in metastatic or recurrent advanced metastatic endometrial carcinoma. With this, we finished the drugs used as anti-cancer drugs. Let's look into few of the principles of how to use anti-cancer drugs. Anti-cancer drugs can't be given alone. They have to be given in combination, and they are going to be given in cycles. Why do we give it in combination? To prevent development of resistance. Why do we have to give it in cycles? They'll usually anti-cancer therapy and will be in 5 to 6 cycles. Why do we do it like this? So after you give the cycle, for first week there are going to be 6 cycles extended over 6 weeks. The first cycle will last for 2 days. Once the anti-cancer drugs are given, after that the time is given for the normal cells to recuperate. Again they will become normal. After that, again the next cycle will be given after 5 days. So every week one cycle, and each cycle lasting for 1 or 2 days. This is how we are going to be doing it. So for recovery of the normal cells, we are going to give it time, and we are going to give it in cycles. And also to decrease resistance, we are going to give it in combinations. Here are a few regimes which we can use in the treatment of cancer. Like, for example, in acute leukemia, we use VAMP, that is vincristine plus amiodarone 6, mercaptopurine, prednisolone, or we can use Folfox, that is 5-fluorouracil with leucovorin with oxyplatin. In colon carcinoma, we have ABVD regime for Hodgkin's, CHOP regime for non-Hodgkin's. Testicular carcinoma, we have BEEP, that is bleomycin, etoposide and cisplatin. BCOP regime, also we have MOP regimes. These are few regimes. Now let's try to understand a little bit more about toxicities. We have already understood that toxicity of anti-cancer drugs are predominantly on those cells which are rapidly replicating, like the bone marrow cells, hair follicles and mucosa. Is there any way to decrease these toxicity of this anti-cancer drugs? Yes. This is called amelioration or toxicity reduction. How can we do this? We have already understood in methotrexate, when we use methotrexate, the cells are not able to produce folic acid. So, for regeneration, for normalization of the function of the normal cells, we tend to give folic acid. Folic acid is unstable, so we tend to give folinic acid. So, one of the ways to reduce toxicity or to save the normal cells is called toxicity amelioration or toxicity reduction. Let's look into each one of them. How can we handle this? One, folinic acid can be given along with methotrexate, so it can rescue the normal cells. We can give mesna for cyclophosphamide and ifosfamide toxicities, the alkylating agent toxicities, where mesna and cysteine have a SH compound which is going to bind to acrolein, which is the compound which is produced by metabolism of cyclophosphamide and ifosfamide. By giving this, we are going to reduce the toxic metabolites, hence we are going to reduce the toxicity of cyclophosphamide and ifosfamide. We can also give ondansetron for vomiting along with dexamethasone, a corticosteroid, lorazepam if more protection is needed. For doxorubicin, it's known to produce cardiotoxicity. So we can give iron chelating agent dexamethasone to reduce the risk. Amifostin is another cytoprotective agent which is used in treatment when platinum based compounds like cisplatin are given. So these are going to reduce the toxicity of nephrotoxicity or radiotoxicity and producing xerostomia. Cisplatin can produce all this. This is going to be reduced by using amifostin. Hyperuricemia, increased concentration of uric acid. How can we reduce this? We can give allopurinol, alkalization of urine, give lot of fluids and corticosteroids. There could be hypercalcemia. What we have learned it as this is a complication of certain malignancies where there can be hypercalcemia, or it can even cause malignant hypercalcemia. How do we treat it? We can give hydration along with bisphosphonates, which we'll be learning in calcium metabolism. And we have to give the drugs in pulses with intervals, 1 to 2 weeks intervals, so that the normal cells are being rescued and malignant cells are killed. Selective exposure. For example, if a person has a carcinoma in one of the limbs, we can give only drug to there, or carcinoma in the pleural cavity. So we can inject around the tumor. So topical application, intra-arterial, intrapleural, intraperitoneal topical application can be done so that we can reduce the systemic toxicity. All of us know that anti-cancer drugs are going to act on the bone marrow to reduce granulocyte counts. They are going to reduce RBC, WBC and platelet counts. So to help the patient so that it doesn't have bleeding, infection, so we are going to be using platelet or granulocyte transfusion, or you can use filgrastim, which is a colony stimulating factor, malogastrum, another colony stimulating factor, which is going to increase the neutrophil count. We can use interleukin 2, which is going to increase the response of the T cell to kill the cancer cells. If the toxicity is too high, we can use bone marrow transplantation. We can also use thalidomide, which is a immunomodulator which inhibits angiogenesis. These are few drugs which can be used to reduce the toxicity. So we have learned anti-cancer drugs are cytotoxic drugs, targeted drugs and hormonal drugs, and we have also learned different types of anti-cancer drugs, cytotoxic anti-cancer drugs like alkylating agent, platinum-based compounds, antimetabolites, natural products, antibiotics, topoisomerase inhibitors. And we learned about targeted monoclonal antibodies and hormone-based drugs. With this, we finish anti-cancer drugs. There will be one more class exclusively on immunomodulators in the one of the upcoming classes. These are few questions which can be asked. So, any of the anti-cancer drugs, alkylating agents, any of the alkylating agents can be asked as a main question, a 10 marker, and methotrexate can be a 10 marker or a 5 marker. There can be a question, what are the general toxicities and how do you reduce these toxicities? That is, toxicity amelioration will be a question. And other questions could be methotrexate, antimetabolites, purine pyrimidine analogs, vincalkaloids and taxanes. With this, we complete anti-cancer agents. Thank you.